All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So the second day of OTAs just wrapped up for the New York Jets. Obviously, today was the first day where media could step in with this, new phase of the offseason. But yeah, let's talk about the practice. Obviously, we have to take it with a humongous grain of salt. No contact, no tackling, no pads. Based off of those, regulations, you're obviously going to have specific positions struggle and you're going to have specific positions do well. But one thing I want to start off with, personally, I found it really concerning here. Rich Cimini, before practice started, he says Jets OTA, Jermaine Johnson working off to the side with the trainer. He's moving well, but not likely to practice in training camp. I don't know if this is, some sort of typo or something like that, because he does say Jets OTA up at the start. But I mean, if that's not a typo and training camp is like a month and a half away, so if we're in a position where we're projecting that far out, okay, Jermaine Johnson's likely not going to be practicing in training camp. I think this has got to be a situation where the Jets they got to bring in someone else, right? Someone else to kind of fill that gap. Yes, of course, McDonald is there. By the way, he did a really, really good job at practice today. I think it was Zack Rosenblatt that said he dominated the day. Of course, all things considered, the offensive linemen aren't wearing pads. So, we have to look at it, objectively as possible. And Aaron Glenn did end up talking a little bit about Will McDonald, which we're going to get into in the post-practice presser. But again, going back to the Cimini tweet, man, like if Jermaine Johnson is not practicing in training camp, again, Will McDonald, Rashad Weaver. We did bring in Barron from Miami, day 3 pick. But, and of course, Braden McGregor, some of the guys from last year, Watts. But, there are a couple of solid veteran edge rushers out on the open market that I'm willing to bring in, right? Cheap 1-year deal, vet minimum. I believe that's around like $970K for this upcoming season. So less than $1 million. The Jets right now sitting just above $25 million in cap space. That's a drop in the bucket, right? For the Jets to bring in someone on a minimum deal. Clowney is out there too, but does he really fit exactly what the Jets want to do? I don't know. But anyway, I found that tweet pretty concerning. I'm hoping it was just a typo here. Now, as far as the practice itself, it's really hard to gauge, things like this. Again, when there's no contact involved, what's a sack, what isn't a sack, when do you blow the whistle in your mind, when do you call it? Could this be a play where the mobile quarterback Justin Fields maybe extends a play, things like that? But I guess Fields started off pretty good, completing a couple passes, getting Jeremy Ruckert involved. Arian Smith made a really nice play down the field. Garrett Wilson as well. But I think really the name of the day was sacks, quote unquote sacks from reporters. Again, really, what is a sack in these situations? Is that a sack on game day? Is that a sack in a normal training camp situation? Normal practice setting? I don't know. It did seem like reporters were really harping on it. Connor Hughes here from SNY, 2-11 on 11 series in. There's a lot of pressure on Justin Fields from a myriad of different directions. Very aggressive defense. He's 2 for 2 in the passing game, flat to Ruckert both times. But Hughes had 4 other pretty obvious sacks on passes. Nick Farias suggested the same thing. Jets offensive line has gotten harassed so far today. Been a part on why it seems Justin Fields is a second late on some of these throws. We're having practices in mid-May. Personally, I'm not gonna sit here and panic. If pads are coming on, if we're getting these reports in August, yeah, I'm gonna be starting to have some concerns boil up here. But it is what it is. When full contact is greenlit, it's clear, it's good to go, everyone's in pads. We'll see if these storylines start to change a little bit. But again, for the time being, there's only so much that you can really look into, these types of practices. But let's move on to the Aaron Glenn press conference, where I felt like he brought up a super, super important point, right? Everyone knows Glenn, first-time head coach, first year with the Jets. We could talk about other things as well. New culture, new scheme. New general manager, tons of new faces, new quarterback. Glenn literally said that yesterday, 100% participation, 100% attendance. I mean, that's sick, right? Like when you're talking about creating a culture, creating really an environment that people and players want to be a part of, want to show up, want to put in the work. I mean, that's really all you can ask for from like a coaching perspective, right? Because at the end of the day, You can have your culture, you can have your mantras, you can have your way of doing things, your responsibilities, how you delegate certain tasks and whatnot, how you run an NFL team. But the proof is in the pudding here, right? If you have 100% of your team showing up to the voluntary portion of the offseason in mid-May, I think you're doing something right. I think you're doing something right. We're not getting reports, oh, so-and-so's holding out. So-and-so wants a new deal. So-and-so's on vacation. So-and-so's on a trip. Nothing. There's been no reports like that. We have veterans on this Jets team that are showing up and, putting in the work, putting in the time. That is awesome. Quentin Williams actually addressed it a little after the practice. But, yeah, I mean, talk about you literally cannot get better than 100% attendance. Next up, there was a great question asked about Andre Cisco, right? Someone who hasn't really been talked about all that much. I actually did a video on him not too long ago, basically throwing out the idea, hey, could this be a steal in free agency? Not so much as like a Jets homer side of it, but more so, okay, big position of need. We haven't really had that ball hawking, center fielding free safety. Someone who's 24, 25 years old, someone who looked really, really good back at Syracuse in college, flashed multiple times in Jacksonville, right? There were some really, really impressive moments. Always seems to take the football away. Is it safe to assume that a player like that can grow and get better? Is the best yet to come? And I think the answer is yes. Like it's one of my favorite additions, draft class included, of this entire offseason. Question came in, right? What is Cisco really, bringing to this team? Glenn talked about the ability to take the football away. He talked about his time back at Syracuse, and he also talked about him kind of as a guy, right? Team player, team first guy, and that you really have to have the right stuff to fit in with this Jets locker room, to fit in with this new Jets culture. And Cisco has that right now. Unfortunately, only signed a 1-year deal. So in the event that he does pop off, we could potentially be paying out another big deal as opposed to giving him a 2-year deal initially. But, whatever, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. It is what it is. Will McDonald, though. Will McDonald was brought up in the press conference, and multiple reporters actually were talking about how impressive McDonald looked during today's practice. But Glenn talked about his long arms. He talked about his speed. Talked about how he put on 15 pounds this offseason to get a little bit bigger at the position to help set the edge. And, in this style of system, the 4-down lineman, you need to be able to stop the run. You need to be able to wall off your side of the defensive line when it's called for. And if McDonald's, maybe there's been that question mark before in the past, can he do this? Does he have the right body type? It's looking like it's trending in the right direction. So, all positive stuff. No injuries, thank the Lord. No injuries coming out from, today's practice. But, according to Glenn, there's one more practice tomorrow. I don't know if it's going to be open to the media, but anyway, let me know your thoughts. Thanks so much for watching. And as always, go Jets.